Buenas tardes. Hello, everybody. So, today we're going to be talking about blockchain, digital assets, and emerging markets. Um, so, we are basically building a technology that a lot of marketers are going to be able, or everyone that markets is going to be able to use this system. Think of it as the next Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. You know, it's a whole new system because there's like a lot of money being missed and left on the table. We're talking about billions of dollars. Ever since COVID has progressed, I'm pretty sure. Can I get a raise of hands if COVID even affected your business? Yes. So yeah, and about that, it's actually changed the way we do business in many aspects. We're talking about just in the UAE alone, retail economy. They were at a climb, and now all of a sudden we're going down. So, and we're talking about billions of dollars in the market just right here alone. We're talking about millions, okay? So, what's happening is everyone's not even going to retail stores. So, what does it matter if you're advertising or marketing on the side of a bus or if you're advertising on any tangible products, right? So, we're everything is digital. Like for example, noon. I'm actually staying across the way from the Burj, uh, and I was curious about this mall. I was like, how was it that they stayed open for so long? And they had to do a lot of e-commerce. They had to change their platform just to keep those 1,300 retail stores open. They had to move to e-commerce, right? Um, and we're talking about this is 2017, right before the pandemic. Um, it was supposed to be like a world type mall, and so they had that issue going on. They weren't ready for it. Nonetheless, they adapted. We're talking about 7 years of advancement in technology was compressed into about 6 months. Here are some statistics how bad retail stores are doing and how they're still lagging behind because of blockchain. They haven't implemented the blockchain tech yet. I mean, a lot of people hear about it, but they don't quite frankly understand it. So we're here to help that. Nonetheless, we're going to continue looking at a lot of these issues that are happening. So a lot of the stores, not only in UAE but also across the world, have been getting a lot of closing, a lot of shutdowns, whether they're clothing stores, supply stores, consumer electronics. So that kind of leaves that old business model a it leaves that old business model a way to either revamp or do something new. And that, of course, we'll be talking about that as well. We're talking about Alibaba, Amazon. These businesses they make billions of dollars. There is a situation with them, even if they're as competitive as they are, and as high grossing as they are. You got to imagine how much marketing dollars we're missing, correct? So if we could get 1%, just 1% as a whole in a market cap out of 74.1, that's a lot. That's a lot of cake to go around. Um, so we're gonna look at new technologies that are actually helping us to get a piece of that pie. Now that we're evolving from the 2.0 to the 3.0, there's a big gap. There's a huge gap in the things where these markets are actually taking a hit, and we've been able to pinpoint where that's been. A lot of that has been in the return sectors. Um, Imagine there was if you guys, anyone here could actually join a business that can help capture the flaws in their system. Just in 2020, it was at 2020, $428 billion in merchandise return. That means the companies are losing money because of the logistics, production, everything in between. Okay. Um, Now depending on what company you're working with, who your clients are, whether they're vehicle, retail, real estate, uh, that 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 takes a big toll. Um, Now, here in 2022, that is taking even a bigger hit, or is it a big hit or a big opportunity? Well, we're about to find out. So, um, as far as the returns, they keep just climbing and climbing as more people jump into the e-commerce and they do business online. Um, with that being said, that is not only affecting the retail as far as clothing, it's not only affecting the trending matters, it's not only affecting uh, uh, a lot of the real estate, but it's basically affected everything, especially the vehicles. Now, I don't know when was the last time anyone went to a dealership and tried to purchase a vehicle, right? But nobody likes that hassle. Everyone is trying to do something new. Nobody even wants to go to the dealership. More than likely, you're going to see it online and you're going to try to uh, get the most out of it. But you could only do so much out of uh, a two dimensional picture or website. So here we're talking about in the billions. And from 2010 to 2019, there has been these are we're talking about in global car sales in the millions, okay, but these are billions of dollar loss. Now we could see how 2019 and 2020 they lost almost 20 million. They stopped manufacturing 20 million vehicles. Where did all those dollars go? Where does all this money go? And 2021 they're not doing so well either. Now what does that mean for people that market? Okay, so if they're not making any money, who are they advertising to? Now, I'm here to try to make that connection because I'm developing, well, we're going to be developing a new platform where it's going to be so much easier for us to connect with the people, connect with businesses, and have it and to see what's next. Next reality, I, we are the solution. Next reality, I'm the CEO and founder, Edwin Castro of Next Reality. We are a meta commerce solution platform. My team, Sunny Sue, he's worked with a bunch of companies, from Fortune 500 companies. Has gotten a lot of exposure on Forbes magazine. His partner Steven and Chief Operating Officer Maleka. So what we do is basically we are able to create these selling points or these rooms, this unlimited real estate for people to have their either offerings, their products or services in a unified virtual space. Now, we don't have to waste any more product. Like for example, with all these chairs, say a company wanted all these chairs, and they need 100 of them. For whatever reason, they ordered them online. They didn't like them. Now we had to return them. They returned them. The company lost money. The client's unhappy. It's so many pros, so many cons to that. So what happens is in a unified virtual space or in the meta commerce in on the Next Reality platform, you're actually able to see it, interact with it, change the color, and get it tailored however you would like. And there's a little explainer video so you guys could kind of get a clue of how it's going. The video? Okay. Well, regardless, got to keep it moving. Okay. 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 No problem. So at the end of the day, this was a talk, right? Where we at basically in I did another keynote for the production on mobility, right? Because just the way that we're able to touch every sector of the market, doesn't matter if it's transportation, doesn't matter if it's retail, doesn't matter if it's fashion, doesn't matter if it's real estate. We are able to hone in on all of those products. And this was actually in 1900, where people they weren't really hip to the cars. I mean, they had one car or one horse, and the rest on Easter Day parade, and it was all horses. Nobody believed that the market would change so quickly, so drastically, where they would be implying new technologies. Uh, but I'm here to tell you that it's happened before, and it's getting ready to happen again. 13 years later, same block. Now you have all vehicles and one horse. All right. So I heard a lot of the earlier presenters where they were speaking about, oh well, you can't predict future technology. Da, da, da. It's already here. Uh, to be honest, it'd probably be a good time to start letting clients know that um, the meta space is actually going to be a thing, right? Because we're talking about my children. I have children, and they use the Oculus. They use. I'm on it. A lot of my friends, there's a whole community being built on it, and every day more and more people are learning about it. Um, the products being made. Uh, okay, awesome. So yeah, the products being made are actually, mm, you know, are specifically, like, for example, blockchain. Let's take blockchain for example. Uh, that blockchain, we're able, whenever someone puts in the order, the way these major companies are using it are like Walmart. Let's say, for example, Walmart. What they're doing is from the beginning, from the conception of the product, they have a whole supply chain and taking it all the way to the consumer, right? So from that point, if there's any irregularity between that and the consumer's not happy, they go back and follow that blockchain. It's a process, right? So with any mistakes, they're able to locate exactly where a mistake happened. Um, now, how does that? You say, well, what does that have to do with me? Well, first of all, customers aren't happy. Your clients aren't happy. Then you really have a bad business. So, um, yeah, okay.
Many people are waking up to the limitations of physical stores. From cramped spacing, people everywhere, and the lack of inventory, it's stressful to find what you like. But what if we could eliminate these issues altogether? With our integrated reality technology, Next Reality takes shopping into the home with virtual storefronts, transcending the physical limitations of brick and mortar space. From the moment you enter a virtual storefront, you're able to get inspired, connect, and shop, all from one place. What's more, you can virtually place products into your space in real time, allowing you to preview them before you buy. From the virtual to the physical with one click. Shop Next Reality.
So yeah, that is having to do with our that has to do with the of course the retail part of it. And you could just imagine how many people. I mean, you already have Amazon, you have all these car dealerships. They're already trying to experiment with VR, AR, but in reality, they can't get that recipe right. They can't even do e-commerce right at this point in time, right? So we're here to change that. We're here to change that. Okay. Um, when we're able to reach the customer or reach the consumer, because wherever all the eyes go, that's where the money is, right? For example, I found out that same company that I told you guys, Noon, they had to partner up with digital marketing companies. You could just imagine how much they spent on trying to get people online or the eyes to their stores to keep the doors open for these companies they just did business with. This is a this is from 2018 to 2022. We're talking about in billions in US dollars. How in 2018, a lot of China was trying to, or is actually doing a consumer to manufacturing as a service. Basically, what that means is on the front end, the consumer or the client, they order something and it doesn't get made until it's paid for. One, we're looking at losses in product. Two, we're looking at savings in logistics. And three, the customer gets exactly what they want. Not, we're cutting down on returns, we're protecting the environment, and the company's making more money, and the client is happy before they even get the product. Now, this is one of the processes I was stating earlier about blockchain. How uh, things super simple that we consider, we just go to the store, we buy it, boom, game over. But for the actual business in anything, that it's a whole process from the farm, storage, transportation. But in case there's one of the clients or customers, the consumer is not happy, we know exactly what happened in that moment. So where the mistake or where the issue occurred. So now that we get a little bit, it's a little explainer, visual explainer, because we're in the market of visually explaining, correct? So with the whole situation with the vehicles, Tesla's a proven case where people want what they want, and they don't mind waiting if they get exactly what they want. Now imagine doing this on a global scale with all companies. GM's Maribera, they just came out of the most successful sales in the history of their company. What happened? They made so many job cuts to invest in AI, to invest in electronics for their EV vehicles. And as we know, that's where we probably still using power gas electric vehicle or gas powered vehicles, but sooner than later we're looking at maybe like a 5-10 year shift. We're probably going to be owning electric vehicles, and for the simple fact is just the way how fast the market is moving. Now, um, this is Forbes. So where we're gonna where I think this information is the most valuable for the people that do marketing is trying to get with brands that uh, do their own manufacturing. Why? Because distribution to consumer brands will extend their category. This is from the Forbes magazine, that or consumer to manufacturing business model. A lot of this is going to affect, because no, there basically won't be a use for Amazon anymore. There won't be a use for um, Alibaba anymore. Why? Because now the manufacturers or the companies that make an item or a product won't need those middlemen anymore, right? So now the funnels that we're using as far as social media, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, um, or any other social media, we're gonna have to find a way to directly advertise to the consumer. What does that look like? That looks like blockchain. That looks like tokenomics. We're going to be able to advertise from our platforms to the consumer. Now you're able to market them in a real estate of virtual reality or meta commerce. These are some more stats. Same way how companies are starting to rebrand themselves. Companies don't need the stores anymore. They're not using these stores anymore. So depending on what it is that we sell, we want to keep at least 3 to 4, 5 steps ahead. So then that way, the consumers that are coming up, we're able to be um, we're able to be we're able to be at sorry about that. We're able to be, at least people will be able to see that the business that we're doing. But at the end of the day, uh, the way that business has been done before is no longer that. So if you guys have any questions, I wanted to take some. Wanted to take some. It was kind of like a lot, but I'll go ahead. Yeah.
Any questions from our audience? It's a big learning curve, though, Edwin, isn't it? It's a big learning curve
Yeah,
with
it's
this.
a lot. It's a lot, especially put you. Yeah.
Hi there. Great
Yes.
presentation, Edwin. Thank you. So I'm a firm believer of the fact that AR and VR are the future. I work in a market research company where we use AR, where people can review an entire aisle through their phone. Now, my question is not exactly technical, but there's a huge gap in, telling consumers, like, this is the problem that I face, where we have the AR model and they're not able to do it well. They're not able to figure it out, and that experience that you're trying to create, telling them to be able to do this at the convenience, where they're able to do it conveniently at their home, turns into a negative experience. So I was looking at your website, and you're trying to do AR, VR in the automotive industry. How do you think, first of all, do you agree that there is a technical and skill gap with the consumers of how they can actually make that experience worthwhile? And two, how is it that you can address that gap? Because that's a major problem with our AR product, is where our panelists are not able to, put that AR model the way it should be. They're not able to experience the experience we want them to experience. So what are your thoughts on that?
Thank you for that question. Well, the beautiful thing about it is, at this point, now that the presentation's done, now I can have conversations. So the beautiful thing about it is, on Next Reality, it's a platform, right? All the products that are being made, they're being developed for the headsets, for Web3, for all these things. However, they're still going to be available for iOS and Android and all those things. It doesn't, just because you have a handheld device, tablet, computer, that does not exempt you from experiencing the high fidelity of product or service. What that actually does is it gives a more of an interest factor, right? So a lot of you're saying, I also heard that from your question, that where the consumer isn't extremely knowledgeable or educated on the matter. However, it all depends on the user experience. Once you're on the app, how long does it really take you to learn the app, right? It all depends on the simplicity, and that's where we're able to shine the most, by being simple. What do you want? As you've seen on the video, you go, what is it that you're looking for to begin with, right? So you go straight to it, or whatever your favorite store or brand or whatever it is that you're looking for, you go to it, and you're able to experience it in that metaverse, right? Once you're there, right, you're able to try it on, see it in the mirror, in the metaverse. I don't know if a lot of people have tried these products yet, but when you do, even if it's just AR, you're looking at a mirror, or you could be looking at the phone, and that, like, for example, the Rolex, right? They'll have a simulated one on your wrist to see what it looks like. You can change the color before you make a $15,000-$20,000 purchase. So I believe that is the part that Next Reality helps a lot of connect a lot of businesses to consumers, and in that fashion, we simplify. We take the companies or everyone that's working to the next step.
Any more quick questions for our audience? Yeah, we've got one over the back here. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Very interesting. So the stats you showed at the beginning was that 8% of purchases made in bricks and mortar returned, 30% online. Is the online industry, e-commerce industry, currently more environmentally unfriendly, therefore, than bricks and mortar? Thinking of all those distribution vans that are going to and from and taking stuff back that consumers aren't happy with.
So Next Reality's philosophy is to create a zero waste environment, right? So as for it's a baby step. The e-commerce, for what we know, even though it's a great thing of the here and now, it's a baby step of what's coming next. Because what happens is Meta, or as a lot of people call it, the VR platforms, they're going to be a new communications tool, right? So with that being said, having an easier communication tool from business to consumer, and not only is it going to be an easier connection, but you're also going to be able to learn what the consumer actually wants. You're going to be able to learn what they don't want, and you're going to avoid all that logistical nightmare. You're going to avoid any pollution, or as much pollution, way less pollution than we're creating now. But to your question, I believe that a lot of the e-commerce that's going on right now, and it could always be, tweaked to be better, to be a better platform, no matter what. So.
Thank you.
Any last questions from our audience? No, we're all good. Thank you so much, Edwin. Oh, we had another one. Sorry. I can't see.
You mentioned that your model would give the manufacturer almost complete control over the process when the product is manufactured and it's shipped to stores and then to consumers. I'm just wondering, let's take this water bottle, for example. What if a customer buys this water bottle one day and then he or she finds that it has something like a foreign object in the bottle, for instance, and the customer would ask the company to go back and check the whole process. Now, assuming that you could have complete control over the manufacturing process, you know what might have gone wrong, but there's a part of the process that the company may have little control over, which is when the product leaves the factory and is transported through, to the distributor, into the warehouse, and to street vendors, where it's really, you need human supervision to ensure that it's in good conditions. How do you ensure that you can go back and collect the data that you need to tell the customer what might have gone wrong, or something, how that foreign object got into the product?
Well, the beautiful thing about that is, of course, we did think about that. Of course, blockchain. Blockchain is going to be able to keep the quality of the products or services that is being offered on the Next Reality platform. Now, also something that I did not mention, but it goes a little bit further back into tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 for the businesses. We actually have a overview of the products that they receive, and we simplify. This is basically a turnkey solution from manufacturer to consumer. And if, for whatever reason, if the customer is unhappy on a product, like say, for example, the glass, the company then provides either another one, or they see where they're able to pinpoint exactly where the mistake was, or where it was that wasn't satisfactory for the consumer. I hope that was able to answer your question.
Fantastic.
Thank
And this
you.
will have to be the last one, Wilson, and then we'll break for lunch. Thank you.
Thank you. And on a tangent from what Arthur said, because I actually have an experience where I'll not name the company because I don't want to maybe get sued or anything. I ate an ice cream and it had basically some red, when I took a bite of it, it's vanilla ice cream, but when I took a look into when I took a bite, it's like, oh, there's something red in there. It could be blood, because vanilla doesn't have red in it now, does it? I contacted the company in question, and they just got back to me from their marketing, like, okay, we'll just send them someone to take a look into it, test it out. Then, after months of back and forth, they finally got it. And then after a few more months of back and forth, they finally said, oh, it's not possible that it was blood because they use machines for everything. I mean, that's where the beauty of it, where if blockchain is able to really segregate all these data points of where credibility and checking comes into play, that would be really good. So what would you advise for like smaller enterprises? Are smaller enterprises able to use blockchain technology into their supply chain?
Well, that is a great question. Now, we know, I believe it was you that said that 14, 15-year-old CEOs might be running around in the metaverse, right? Because,
Exactly.
yeah, because you know, it all depends on how you educate yourself or learn about the technologies, the emerging techs, the technologies that are coming up. Now, as far as blockchain, that's the beauty of it. Even if the smaller enterprises or the smaller companies are not able to grasp blockchain immediately, that's why we're able to give those companies the highest fidelity or the highest vision to the consumer before they buy it, right? Because no one is ever gonna have 100%. Every piece of clothing is never gonna be at 100%, or any ice cream is never gonna be at 100%. You will always have that 1 point whatever percent that something did go wrong, right? But what happens is now we're able to trace where it went wrong because of humans. Because we're the ones that input that information in the blockchain. We're the ones that said, it passed inspection, go on. Where did the mistake occur? What is it that happened? See what I'm saying? And now, to be honest, I believe AI could actually do a better job at inspecting and at making sure that things, because there's no, you see what I'm saying? It just has one job to do.
Yes.
Right? And that's crunch information. And the person that's actually running those machines could be used to do something better, like develop or do other non-mundane things, right? So basically what we're trying to do is break people free from those tasks that nobody wants to do.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you all so much for your questions. Edwin from Next Reality, thank you so much. Fantastic presentation. Lovely to have you here again.